controlled by HUF. Where one enterprise is controlled by an HUF, the other enterprise is controlled by a member of such HUF, a relative of a member of such HUF, or jointly by such member and his relative. So what this means here is, let's say for example, there is a company X Limited. It is under the control of an HUF ABC. Mr. A and Mr. B are members of such HUF, and they own 100% in a foreign company. The issue is whether FCO and X Limited will be associated enterprises. The answer to this is yes. Why? Because it says that where one enterprise is controlled by an HUF, the other enterprise is controlled by a member of such HUF. Since FCO is controlled by members of HUF and HUF controls X Limited, hence both FCO and X Limited will be deemed to be associated enterprises. Let's look at another example here. The HUF controls X Limited. The same thing what we saw earlier. Mr. A and Mr. B are members of HUF. The relative of Mr. A and Mr. B control foreign company. So instead of Mr. A and Mr. B, we now have relative of Mr. A and Mr. B who are owning 100% in the foreign company. The issue is whether FCO and XCO Limited will be the deemed enterprises. Since FCO is controlled by relative of members of HUF and HUF controls X Limited, hence both FCO and X Limited will be deemed to be AEs. Why? Where one enterprise is controlled by an HUF, the other enterprise is controlled by members of such HUF or by relatives. So this is the case of the control through the relatives of the members of HUF. Again, now we will move on to a holding of not less than 10% in a firm. Not only firm, we also have an association of person or a body of individual. Where one enterprise is a firm, AOP, or a body of individual, the other enterprise holds 10% or more interest, which means 10% or greater than 10% interest in such firm, AOP, or body of individuals. So what does this mean? If there's a foreign company which owns 10% or more, 10% or anything which is greater than 10%, in the firm, the AOP or the BOI, the two will be deemed to be associated enterprise. The facts in this case are that the FCO holds 10% voting rights in a firm, an association of person or a body of individual which is incorporated in India. The issue whether two will be deemed to be associated enterprise, like I said, they will be, because FCO holds not less than 10%. Now this is just another way of saying this. It effectively means 10% or more. And last but not the least, there exists between two enterprises any relationship of mutual interest as may be prescribed. Now, one of the things which we should know is that for identification of AE, any of the aforesaid relationships should exist at any time during the previous year. This is what I told you in the beginning, right? It is not necessary that such relationship should exist throughout the year. Year means financial year, or at least for some duration of time. There is no bar as to what is the duration for which such relationship should exist before the relationship of AE shall be deemed to exist. Even if it is for 1 day, the condition will be treated as satisfied and the two will be deemed to be associated enterprises.